new studios, and why do you consider that? And I said, cool, I will. And so I stayed there with usually Bondurant for about 4 classes. And now I'm going to take Andy next semester.
Right on.
That's sort of what I've been doing. I had a few very good, like, great auditions, but no work. And I really have not had any work. I'm with 7, and basically HSN stuff. And getting Night Katie's great.
Yeah.
But I would love, I've taken the classes that are great for me for going through a life transition to keep me focused and I get better every time, which is great. But I would love to make sure I'm a better auditioner and to make sure that I feel more comfortable and to see how I can start getting some work.
Do you remember who your teacher was over at the Strauss?
It's a gentleman, and I want to say that it was like a long, like Russian name.
Okay.
It starts with a B.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was he Russian?
Yeah, a really great guy, but I just, there's only 3 of us in the class, and it was well worth every penny.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes when it's a small group, we can work independently, and we can give a little bit of care, individual to individual.
I have to say, it's one thing is, it was a great, sort of transitioning with life a little bit. There's such a great focus, such a beauty to be around such great people, you know? It was a great thing. It's been great for me in a lot of ways. I'd like to work. Huh?
You're gonna take that back at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd like
Around
to
great people, I hate that too.
Yes.
I'd like to get it for my accountant, my CPA needs to show that I have a paying gig.
Who referred Andy to you?
Somebody, I keep mindfulness classes too, and somebody in my mindfulness class suggested.
Mindfulness classes?
Davida Baludi,
Mindfulness classes.
Buddhist psychology.
Buddhist psychology.
Oh, that's good.
Meditation.
Right on.
What's that?
It's in Palmetto, and there's Gwen Hammer teaches in Seminole Heights, on Florida, on Sundays. An excellent teacher, excellent mindfulness teacher, and it's not religion, everybody, different religions, they're not that religion.
The philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very cool. That's different. That's different. Where do you see yourself in the performing arts in the next year? I mean, do you want to go to more auditions? Do you want to do film, theater?
Anything. I would love to do it. I don't have any children, and so I have a pretty flexible schedule. I'm a personal trainer, so
Okay,
I don't
I
mind. Yeah.
I need to be personally trained.
You know, and I don't mind traveling or whatever, but I would love to actually get some paid work. And
The older I get, the harder it is to keep the weight off.
yeah.
Okay, right on. So do you do personal training full time? Is that what you do?
I actually do it part-time, but there's a lot to it, so sometimes it seems like full-time.
Sure, absolutely, especially if you have many clients, right? Yeah.
But I, they tend to be older, so I get everything in, like balance and posture.
Oh, nice, very good, very good. Good, you can probably give me a lot of notes at the end of the class about my posture, my balance.
And
That's all.
I'm like this, I just talk to myself.
I have lost my center. I'm done. All right. Fantastic, good to hear. Whit, yes, Whit.
Total rookie.
Total rookie.
Worked in the museum field. And
Okay.
Did a lot of presentations and board meetings and international conferences.
So public speaking is right up your alley.
Yeah, but no, this acting scares the hell out of me. So that's my biggest problem. is,
Right on, okay.
Can't find myself. I do those things. My friends here keep telling me, stop acting.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Be yourself,
It's
absolutely.
so easy. I was like, who am I? I have a family of, I have 2 sisters that actually made a living out of stage, theater, films. So, gone to every single play they ever did. So, it's just, but I would give it a try. So
Sure.
one of my bucket list things, along with meditating, weightlifting, coach.
Oh, okay.
I can say
Has
she's.
she dragged you here? Is that what it is?
Her team, and DJ and I.
Yeah.
All right, right on, fantastic.
Like hanging out.
Hey, fantastic, okay. So.
Never been on audition, never been on.
Never been on audition, never been on stage, but you've watched other people perform, but you have done some public speaking in your previous employment, and you're just looking to fill some time, or looking, did you want this as a new career move, or something as a hobby, or something that you just want to get into? You looking for an income?
No.
No?
Don't need it.
Sure, right on.
I'll take the money if it's come my way. It's a more, it's a skill I don't have.
Right.
I want it.
I
don't feel comfortable in, the hardest thing, I never had to learn a script.
Right.
I either have a written speech or just extemporaneously deliver it. For better, but I knew the field, in the science center field for 40 years. That was it in the science center field.
Right.
Everybody wanted to listen to me, so we.
Yeah, one of the awesome things about not just teaching these type of classes, but teaching with a large organization like John Casablancas, which once again, I do not suggest anyone here ever go to a John Casablancas unless you can find a teacher or an instructor that would really latch onto you and really give you some motivation and direction, because a lot of the people that work there are just not. I'm not trying to badmouth the company. I don't know. I haven't worked with the company in a while since they reorganized here in Tampa. But one of the things that I enjoy doing is that the youngest person I ever taught was 4, and the oldest person I ever taught was 84, and he just passed away. Matter of fact, T might have even seen that on the Facebook page. Yeah, and he's actually worked with David. I found that he had passed away. I didn't even know, and it gave me this breadth of seeing what people wanted in their lives. And there was one gentleman that I taught. He was getting to be around, I want to say 68, 69 years old, and he wanted to do strictly film. He was a retired real estate agent. He was very, very successful in his life. He had no money issues whatsoever. His wife wanted to be an actress. They were both coming in my classroom with no experience whatsoever. He had that kind of work ethic that he learned from being in real estate, that he was just going to get the job done. And by the time I started my class, when I told people, this is what I want you to start doing, I need you to start bringing in information about auditions and going to auditions and sharing them with your fellow classmates, go as a group if necessary. He ended up booking a film before my class was over. And it wasn't just a film, it was a major motion picture called Parker with Jason Statham. Yes, it was about a British secret agent, or thief actually. And they filmed it over in Sarasota at the Ringling College. He's one of the millionaires at the auction, and I thought that was really cool that he actually booked the job before. And I mean, he was like, Tim, I can't believe it, because everything you said, everything that was there, it's like, it was all like clockwork. And all of a sudden, I just found myself wanting. Like I stuck around everybody who had the little walkie-talkies, the PAs. I just stayed next to them. Everybody else wanted to go and talk over there, so I just stayed right next to the PAs. And every time that PA got a call on his walkie-talkie saying they needed somebody on set, guess who they picked? I even went with my wife, and they looked at my wife and me, and they went, mm-mm. They chose him and another woman to represent as his wife on set, and she actually took that very quickly. But it's really cool how you get to know people, and you need to see what it is they need. And all he needed to do was to rechannel his energy from real estate, which is very competitive, to another competitive experience as performing arts, acting in theater, all that other good stuff. And he's just continuing moving. Whether or not that satiated him or not, because it took him a while to get a second audition and a second job. But he was kind of like, hey, I did it. And then it was done for a while. And then I just found out with his wife that he's still working. He's just doing little bit parts in the area. You might even possibly have bumped into him from time to time. I'll send you his name and see if you even know him. But the team might have known him too. Klaus, remember Klaus? Yeah. He's probably heard me say this 1,000 times, because there's always something that I have to establish with you guys before I can actually get to work, because it's silly of me to think that I can teach you something about acting when I don't even know how you guys are going to approach that idea or concept. You understand what I'm saying? You may have not have done much of anything as an actor, but you've been acting your entire life.
That's true.
Okay? So.
Well, therefore, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, you already know who you are. You know what? That's the most interesting aspect of you, is being just you. I can already tell you're very intelligent. Your vocabulary, I have problems putting words together. I think you'd be a good conversationalist. I can already tell that you're a good listener. There are things that I can tell about people right away, you know, like I know that Tremaine is, I know Tremaine's a closet axe murderer. I've seen him. He's so quiet that I was just saying, were you hiding the bodies? He hasn't really told me that yet, but we'll get to that soon enough. But yeah, good. So you're looking to explore this, yes? And just see where it might take you. You're not even giving yourself any kind of deadline or guideline.
I just respect you guys. It's
Yeah,
the
right on.
toughest thing I've done.
Right on. Yeah. Sandra.
Sharon.
I have to pretend like I don't know you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing a couple of jobs. You just said you got a job tomorrow, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so good. What is it you need to work on?
I just want to, so I've been doing a lot of characters lately, so sometimes I tend to go too big
Right?
and too outrageous. I have to go theatrical. And I need to knock it down.
Sure.
Because, yeah, what did I put background, but for Spectrum and Beef O'Brady,
Right.
like, they don't want over the top. They want plain.
They want plan.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see more and more auditions where people don't even come in with haircuts anymore. They come in with a beard and scruff. They get more. I see more people who get jobs with full facial hair. Beards are in right now, so you know. Yeah. So I know it's kind of silly, but yeah, having a very plain look is working. Having a very plain attitude is working. Having a very common approach is working. You get one of these people who come in and they want to be an actress or an actor, and they're like all into their method or their I guess, you know, the way they deal with things, and they're just so involved, and they get on stage or they get up in there in front of the audition. Whoever's auditioning you is usually some casting agent, you know, which they don't even know what the director wants sometimes. They're just giving you filler just so because they're looking for a specific look. They know as soon as you walk in the door, we can use her, just based on look. They haven't even heard you open your mouth, you know.
Well, yeah, because I did those two things I just booked. I didn't audition. But
Yeah.
the Spectrum I did, the Spectrum I didn't get.
Your agent just passed on your information, says show up.
Yeah.
Yep, that happens all the time. That happens all the time. That means they've already booked the talent for their actual piece, and they're gonna use you, like I said, as a background performer, or they'll maybe throw you a line, luckily, maybe who knows, or if they'll give you a crowd line, where you're like, yay! With everybody else who's going, yay! And that's about as far as it goes.
And I've done 2 jobs because they both got into car accidents.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Here's something.
That's interesting. Yes, don't shake her hand. It might be bad luck. Jinx up. Rebecca, yes? Yes. How you doing?
Good.
Where are you from?
I was born in New York,
Right on.
Manhattan, and I was raised in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I did a lot of work in Puerto Rico.
It's funny, it's usually the other way around. It's usually you're born in Puerto Rico and you were raised in New York. You're raised in New York and you
I
go to
left when
Puerto
I was
Rico.
13,
Okay.
and I rarely spoke English when I was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So my main language was Spanish
Oh,
for like
nice.
25 years, and then I moved to Florida, and I had to start practicing my English again. And it's coming back little by little.
Oh, right. And you acting?
Yeah, I did some work in Puerto Rico,
Okay.
some soap operas and some characters.
Like novellas?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
And bit parts and documentaries.
Those are always so fun, watching novellas. If you want to overact, feel free to go ahead and go into the soap business and the novellas, because it's all just complete overacting, you know, big events, trying to make something big seem small. Oh, Susan didn't show up. Oh, she's dead. She was kidnapped by a UFO. Was that?
They're dead again.
Dead again, yes, brought back the ghost. What is it you want to work on?
Well, I haven't done anything for many years, except I was booked, I was cast for a reality show here in St. Pete, Condo Cops.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Like
How'd
2
that
years
go?
ago.
Yeah.
Really good. I felt like I was in my environment, and I loved it, and I just got bit by the bug again. And I worked with Ron Statloff, who passed away last year. And
Oh,
he
wow.
was wonderful. I loved him. And yeah, so I decided that I wanted to try again.
I remember when Condo Cops was shooting down here, there was another one that was shooting here at the same time, and that was the Naked Rentals. Have you seen that one? Yeah, there was Naked in Real Estate or something like that, where they had nudists looking for real estate.
Wow.
And they used up in North Tampa, there's like a nudist colony up there, and they used that for their set.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody that was on set was required to be naked, and I was like, okay, that's an interesting angle for cable television. I mean, they didn't show anything. It was always in fuzzy boxes everywhere. But I mean, when you were on set, yeah. It was just a nutty experience. Was that?
How long did it last, the show?
Not even a season. I think everybody laughed at it. It was just silly. And you can tell that it was so structured and scripted, and it was just horrible, horrible. I'm not sure about the Condo Cops.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think it
scripted.
lasted 2 seasons and then
Was it scripted? Do you know if it was scripted? Was it all planned?
no, well, it was real stories.
Right.
From the condominium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were reenacting these real
Yes,
stories? Is that what it
yes.
was? Okay. All right. So it was scripted. Okay.
Yeah, so,
Based
I'm
on real.
I'm
stories.
terrible with cold reading, it's just terrible. Like I
Okay.
said, with my Spanish and.
Right, well, you're bilingual, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Mhm.
So, I'm terrible at that, I hate it. I've done a couple of auditions, but I'm holding back a little bit, I'm doing some work in my, on TV. and,
Okay.
I haven't really gotten into the auditions yet.
Right. Right, okay, fantastic. All right. Where do you see yourself? I mean, where do you see yourself in this business? What do you feel like what do you do for a living?
I don't work,
You don't work. Okay, all right, so you got some time.
yes.
What do you want to do?
It's kind of silly,
No,
but
it's
I
never
really,
silly.
my favorite show is The Walking Dead,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
and I'm just shooting.
Zach was just on The Walking Dead.
Even, yeah,
Zach Vasquez, he's over there at Andy, Mr. Muscles. You don't know Zach?
They always do that.
Oh, gosh.
so I'm going like towards, maybe I can land, even if it's a one-liner, I don't care. I just want to say I was on The Walking Dead.
All
Not,
right.
not a walker, but I'd like at least a one-liner.
Yeah, he played a soldier in the final episode of last season.
That's for zombies.
Yeah, no, but
He was in the two-parter. Yeah, I saw him in the background. Lori Cohen was doing her little speech when they were trying to get everybody organized to fight up against bad guy, Negan, and he's in the background holding a rifle.
Oh.
Oh, I know he is.
Zach,
Yeah.
And he's Zach Vasquez. He looks Spanish.
He's a tall guy, yeah.
Well, he's not really tall. He's actually short, but he's very muscular, and he's a male performer. You know what I mean? Because he has that kind of
Oh,
body.
it's that one? Oh,
You know who I'm talking about?
yeah. Oh.
Zach?
No.
No?
She's thinking of somebody different.
No.
She's
no.
thinking of Steven.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, Zach's a good guy. Zach's a really good guy. I've worked with him. He's interesting to work with, but of course, he's the kind of guy you walk in the door, and if you're looking for somebody with that kind of physicality, it's him.
What are the performers about?
Yeah, and okay, Walking Dead. That's actually very simple to do.
I love the apocalypse shows. Just-
I can give you 2 agents that you need to get booked with in order to get on The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Right now, you should be looking at Brevard. Brevard is in Orlando. You need to submit to Brevard. This is one of the ways of getting into The Walking Dead.
What is Brevard?
It's a talent agency, yeah. Brevard Talent Agency.
And
As a matter of fact, Annie Matheny is in Brevard. Yeah. She's the one, that's how she booked Burn of the Dawn. Through Brevard. Because there was 2 casting agents through Brevard. One was Kathy Laughlin and the other one was Brevard. I think there was maybe the People Store in Atlanta, but that cast was so diverse. I mean, it was Kevin Sorbo, who was a West Coaster. There was Patrick Muldoon, which is an East Coaster, but he's a North Carolina East Coaster. And then there were the kids, and the kids come from 3 different states. And the reason why my friend Tracy got the teaching job was because they were going to have to hire 2 different teachers. One was a West Coast teacher, one was an East Coast teacher, because they needed a Florida teacher to teach the person that was from Florida, and they needed a teacher that was teaching from California. The other one was from Georgia, which Florida and Georgia, they're comparative. They actually switch a lot of different records. I don't know if you knew that or not, but if you're licensed in Florida and Georgia, it's kind of the same. It's like when you have your driver's license. You don't really have to change your driver's license in Florida and Georgia. They'll find everything about you if you get pulled over in Georgia or whatever. But in California, it's a little bit different. Not all states are linked. But they needed to have someone on set to teach the kids from California and one from Florida. luckily enough, Tracy was licensed in both states. So she actually that's the reason why they got the job. They saved the paycheck by hiring Tracy because she can teach, all 3 kids.
And what's the other one you said, Brevard?
That's gonna be the People's Store. That's in Atlanta.
That's the other one you?
That's one of them, but no, Kathy Laughlin.
Oh,
Kathy Laughlin's an insane woman who teaches over on Hillsborough. But she's the one who did all the extras casting for that.
And there's probably that Landon Arts.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about?
Not really. Not really. Haven't had that much experience. I know of them, don't have that much experience working with them. So I really can't comment on that. I only can comment on the people that I've actually traveled through with and have burnt bridges with. Like Tremaine.
I wanted to ask you, I think Florida and Georgia, you don't really have to be part of the SAG?
Florida's a right to work state, so they're non-union, but Georgia's unionized. They're becoming unionized because that's where Pinewood Studios is. That's what they're fighting for. And pretty much they accept mostly unionized people up
So
there.
I have to be part of it?
No, you need to be SAG eligible. Does that make sense?
No.
You know what that means?
Yeah, you have to be at least to have 2 talking.
Not talking, not really. No. You just have to be booked by an agent that you, like say for example, if you go to your,
IMDb?
no, not IMDb. You go to your, what is that you're gonna be working, what's the cable company you're gonna work for? Spectrum. You go to that Spectrum thing, and that Spectrum company, is hired by an agency that is a unionized agency, but they're using non-union work. That means that those hours that you put in there, you could go ahead and submit the hours that you have and become union eligible. It's the preemptive strategy of becoming eligible because your residence is here in Florida, yes?
Yes.
So there's no requirement for you to be in SAG because there's actually a lot more opportunities for you not being in the union than if you were in the union. But just so you know, since you're putting the hours in and the time in, keep all of your receipts, keep everything that they pay you, make sure that they know that you want to strike to become a union member. If you want to become a union member, strike a union, that sounds funny, but it's not. Because you want to become eligible. And you can never realize, you probably are.
Because
Yeah.
my resume is 2 pages long.
And I know that's great, but the person that you work for has to submit your name. That's the thing. You have to find somebody that's willing to give you the eligibility info. They have to send your information to the SAG office, which I think is in Dade County, down in Miami here in the state of Florida, or Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
You're lucky if you can get a hold of him because it's a guy that lives out of his apartment. There's no office. There's no physical union office in the state of Florida.
Okay.
You might even be able to get it through Kathy or through Andy. Andy might be able to hook you up with somebody that she knows that's a union rep that they can send your information to. That's another good thing about Andy is she's got those kind of avenues if you get to know her well enough. She doesn't volunteer that information because she charges money for her classes.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? I don't do that. I don't charge money for my classes. What I like to do is I like to be able to see you guys go off and get work and go, hey, yeah, I participated in that. That's nice. That's good to see. I just had a student who just booked a film called Swamp Thing. It's going to be on a DC channel. They're filming it up in Pinewoods. No, they're filming it up in Louisiana. It's going to be in Louisiana. But all the production teams and everything are coming from Pinewood. And he gets to play a Louisiana bayou, somebody who lives on the river, and he was like, he had called me up, because he's from North Carolina, and he had called me up saying that he wasn't sure whether he should, because he was submitting by tape. You guys submit by tape? Auditions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, say, the working actress in the room submitting by tape. And this is another thing I'm trying to introduce you guys to. Does Amy Matheny talk about submitting by tape? Good. All right. You should be submitting, going online, looking at all these auditioning boards, and whenever it says submit on tape, take them absolutely seriously and submit on tape. The worst thing that you can do is, right, is you send it out there and you don't get a response. Who cares? Because the one time you send it out there, you're going to at least possibly get a response. Guess what's going to happen if you don't submit? Nothing. Not a damn thing's going to happen. You won't get a return call. Nobody's even going to know you're sitting on your cell phone waiting for a phone call because they don't care. You've got to submit. You've got to put your information out there. So every time you see, have something prepared. Have a little snippet prepared. It doesn't have to be long, 1 minute, 30 seconds to a minute. Send them with your personal information with a link to your YouTube page, submit it. You know? And if they're interested, then they'll send you a copy and they'll say, here, read these 3 lines. I mean, he only had 3 lines. It was 2 pages. Somebody else was saying the dialogue, and he had 3 interrupting lines, but he booked it. And I said, you know what? You're in Louisiana. Go with a light accent. Just use a light accent showing them that you can do it. And that's exactly what he did. And like 3 weeks later, they called him and they booked him for the show. And that's such a small TV show that it's a small community, which means there's a possibility we'll see him again. Because in those small little backwater towns, they always create more. I mean, this is the reason, The Walking Dead. Everybody starts off small, and then all of a sudden their character begins to grow, especially if they're a character that's recognizable from the comic book. That I know. Okay? You know, zombies, they constantly use again and again, because these guys are behind such heavy makeup, and they go through an intense zombie training course that it's easier for them to hire people they've already worked with than people that are new. So that's the hardest part. That's why I'm saying, don't worry about being a zombie. Look for something else if you really want to go in The Walking Dead. You know, especially with your interesting look. You have a very American look. It's nice, interesting Native American look.
Oh.
Yeah, you do. You've got a hippie-ish kind of
Bohemian.
look. Yeah, yeah. You know, something that show sometimes has. You know what I'm saying, in the background. You know, it just looks good. You know, because that's really where their society is going. They're trying to go that very earth-tony, earth feel, because there's nothing there anymore. So
No more Botox.
no more Botox. It's very natural. It's very, you know, comfortable. You see people in the background, and your look is echoed through that entire show. So there's no reason why you couldn't be able to fit in there. And when I say things like that, I'm not trying to pigeonhole you. You got to learn what your strengths are, and your strengths are what you see in the mirror. Exactly. You're not trying to become something else. You are who you are, and just be you, and know how to market you. That's all the whole thing, is being able to market you. Look at this face. This face is not a pretty face. I'm an evil guy, and that's how I market myself. I'm always the villain. I'm always the bad guy. And every once in a while, I play a goofy nerd, but that was more in my youth. When I was young, I could fill the nerd perfectly. But now I'm just the bad guy. I'm just the evil guy. I'm the guy that yells. I'm the guy that looks at you and wants to kill you every single time. And that's what I
That must
do.
be fun.
It's fun. Villains are flawed, so there's always more to do.
So were you talking about demo reel?
More than just a demo reel. A demo reel has a lot of your information on it. This is something that you can just pepper out there, because a demo reel usually is about 2 minutes to about 3 minutes long. This is a snippet. This is a quick, hi, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Just something that you could link. You can link your demo reel to, but most of the times if it's a demo reel and it's stayed as a demo reel, do they have the time to go and reference you? If you just send a little quick link, something that's only like 15 or 20 seconds long, they give a good taste of what it is you're capable of doing, especially if they can see you. Make sure you're very visible so they can see you and say, ooh, I like her look. Most of the time when you book a job, it's going to be 9% looks, 10% talent. That's just how this industry works. They're looking for somebody. How many times have you saw a casting agent on an extra on a DVD, they sit there and they go, as soon as they walked in the door, I knew we had our Kevin. Notice what I just said there. Did you hear what I just said? As soon as she walked through the door, I knew we had my Kevin.
If she was bisexual?
That's just how they cast.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you're boy, girl, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. It's all about that first impression when you walk in the door and they see that, that's what I've imagined. That's when the writer is sitting there going, that's who I wrote this about. You see what I'm saying? And they'll do everything in their capacity to try to get that person to be what they want them to be. You know, it just happened recently with the whole Solo film where they hired this kid based off of his looks, even though he didn't sound like Harrison Ford, he didn't look like Harrison Ford, but there was something about him, and believe it or not, his swagger was a little bit Harrison Ford-esque. And I can see it. I can see why they hired this kid to play Han Solo in the Star Wars show.
That's right, they recorded young.
Yeah, he did not have any, and they didn't want that. They didn't want an echo of Harrison Ford. You know, and then everybody is watching the film and everybody's coming back and saying, you know, he didn't do a bad job. What is all this about him doing a bad job? You actually watch the film and you go, yeah, he's a different Han Solo.
Yeah.
But then you look at the guy that everybody loves who did Lando Calrissian. What's his name? Do you know what his name is?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, but he's, huh?
I don't know that.
Lando the guy who, he's a singer, he won he got nominated for Academy.
Yeah, Donald Glover.
John Glover, there you go, yeah. And he did a caricature of the original Lando Calrissian. And you can see it, you can watch it on film and go, he's trying to be, what's his name? It's the original Lando Calrissian's name. I can't remember. But he's trying to be him. Instead of trying to turn it into his own character, he's trying to mimic him.
What film was this?
Huh?
What film was this?
Solo, the Star Wars film with Han Solo. But it was a whole bunch of mess all over the internet. There was a whole bunch of mess about how people are hating this film because of the way, about how they fired the two directors, you know, a year and a half into the project, and they hired Ron Howard to come and do the cleanup work. Yeah, it was a big hoopla. Anybody know? Because Star Wars fans are crazy. Most Star Wars fans are nutty. They're nutty.
Hey.
B. Come on, you don't know Lando Calrissian's real name? What was his name? Why am I
I'm not American, so I don't know actors.
the malt, what's it called? Let's call liquor drink.
Can you give me my
Why am I
phone?
missing? But anyway, we're not gonna use it. Huh?
You put it on your YouTube, sir.
All right, what you want to do is you want to go home, find yourself a little scene that's maybe about 30, 45 seconds long. Start with that and have someone cold read to you while you actually interpret. That's what we're doing today, by the way. I'm going to do that with you guys. I want to see you build on something that's blank. It's a blank page. So we'll get past this. I know it sounds like we're spending a lot of time. I wanted an hour with this to get to know you. You don't just walk into a masseuse and say, "Oh, my back hurts."